2014. Oh God, 2014. We're taking a trip down memory lane, ladies and gentlemen, because 2014, which was 10 years ago now, was probably the most influential NASCAR season that I could remember in the last 20 years, probably. It is the one season that I remember so well. It's kind of creepy how I remember it. I feel like 2011 is another season I remember very well, but 2014 was the season where NASCAR truly did change forever. You see what you see NASCAR as today, which is, the chaos of green, white, checkered restarts and the aggressiveness of the drivers and how everything is take, and no more give and take. This all started in 2014. That was the year where everything went to hell. It was all hands on deck. Gloves were off, drivers were fighting, fans were excited, and NASCAR lost its goddamn marbles in terms of competitive motorsport, and they just said, you know what, we're going to take this to the extreme of entertainment and drama, and if it's fair, we do not give a flying crap. It was the first year of the elimination style playoff format, with the championship being decided in a single race at Homestead Miami Speedway, but it was easily the most unfair format you could ever think of. The inauguration of the elimination format was as goes. You get bonus points for 3 bonus points for winning a race in the regular season. That will help you in the first round only of the playoffs, because after the first 3 races in the first round of the playoffs, everyone gets reset to 2,000 points, which means truly and literally it was 3 race seasons at the end of the season, because once you get past the first round, everyone's on the same level of points. If you get past the second round, everyone's on the same level of points. You don't get bonus points for winning at this rate at this point of the playoff format. If you win a race in the playoffs, you are advanced to the next round, but you don't get bonus points that carry over into the next round. It is just pure chaos and ridiculousness, basically. It was so ridiculous that NASCAR in a few years' time would have to make adjustments to it because it was just too much. They pushed it way too far when it comes to the entertainment aspect of the sport, and we are still feeling that effect today because 10 years later, we are still deciding the championship in a single race, winner-take-all format, which makes me incredibly sad. Now, I am wearing my Jeff Gordon t-shirt. All right, I have 2 of these now, and I am a Jeff Gordon fan. Everyone knows that. So 2014, listen, it carries PTSD for us Gordon fans. I remember I was a junior in high school, and I specifically remember in the playoffs, going to school on the Monday, my history teacher was a Jeff Gordon fan. He had a Jeff Gordon diecast on his desk, and we were in South Florida. There's not a lot of NASCAR fans in South Florida, okay? So it was kind of cool to have my history teacher be a Jeff Gordon fan, and we would talk about the race every Monday, after the race on the Sunday. So yeah, that's why I probably remember 2014, even just those special reasons as to why I remember it. We remember it for other reasons, which we will get into. Now, a few things I didn't remember that actually changed in 2014, and maybe you didn't either. Thanks to Wikipedia for pointing this out. Wikipedia 2014 NASCAR season is fantastic. But the qualifying format. Yeah, did you guys remember that was actually changed? Single car qualifying was gone. It was the Formula One style qualifying.
Time to go. Here we go.
Tempest Fugit.
Here we go. Now the mad rush.
So it was the 3 rounds, round 1, top 24 advance, round 2, top 12 or 10 advance, round 3, top whatever advance, and, it was ridiculous. Everything about this season truly is ridiculous. All the changes and everything is just unbelievable. But it's also a memorable season because this is the only season in NASCAR that had high horsepower, high downforce. Only season in NASCAR that had it. In 2013, you had a very tiny little baby spoiler, and you had a lot of horsepower, so the 2013 cars were slipping and sliding, and it was all over the place. NASCAR makes the changes into 2014 to put the spoiler height a decent amount higher. They also loosened ride height rules, so the cars were just incredibly fast. I remember the Michigan race, and I remember these cars flying at nearly 215 miles per hour entering turn 1. Ridiculous speeds. And in the corners, they were not they were not dropping speed. Since you have the higher the more spoiler on the back of the car, the loosened ride height rules between the cars are plastered to the ground. These were probably the fastest race cars in modern NASCAR history, which is why NASCAR only had it for 1 year, because in 2015 they would then add the tapered spacer into the car, which lowered the horsepower down to 725 or something, and it made me and everyone very sad. And also, the 2015 season is probably one of the worst seasons in NASCAR history because of how boring it was, since you couldn't pass, since you had high downforce and low horsepower. It was terrible. But in 2014, it was blazing. Everyone, and you've probably seen the clip of that Chicago video where it was a restart at the playoff race in Chicagoland, and the cars are screaming around. It wasn't just for Chicago. That was for everywhere. When I tell you records were broken that year in 2014, records were broken. Those cars were flying. And as a NASCAR fan, it was actually nice to watch. You kind of don't remember it back then because it was only one season that the cars were this ungodly fast with this much downforce in the race car. 2015 on, it was changed. So maybe that's why some people hold 2014 special in their hearts, even though a lot of the races, still could have been classified as boring, but it had so many memorable moments. And it also helped that Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the Daytona 500, so that helps. Now, the 2014 season was kind of dominated by two drivers. However, the driver that actually won the most races was Brad Keselowski. He had 6 wins on the year. But the two drivers that were just the fastest week in, week out, the fastest race cars, always competing for the wins, were Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick. It was Kevin Harvick's first year at SHR. He just joined over from RCR, joins SHR with Riding Childress, goes into the 4 car, and literally flying from the get-go. He and Gordon were on another level. Now, like I said, Keselowski won 6 races on the year. He actually had the most wins out of the entire 2014 season. His teammate Joey Logano had 5 wins on the year, so Penske had 11 wins between the two of them. Very, very good. But I don't know if memory serves me wrong or whatever, but the two fastest cars, Harvick and Gordon. I don't have the old points format in front of me, but Gordon would have won on the season-long standing format. Harvick was right there with him. And so it looked like it was going to be a battle between those two for the majority of the year, but that's where the playoffs come in, baby. So the playoffs start, and this is the beginning of the point stand. You can see this is the format. This is the start. You can see how tight everything is. You only get 3 bonus points for winning a race in the regular season, and then, like I said, everything restarts from there. And yeah, this is probably the most memorable playoff in NASCAR history that I can remember, at least. I mean, you could argue the first one ever in 2004, but in terms of how different this was, how chaotic this was, and how many, well, let's be fair, fights there were, consisting mainly of one guy just pissing everybody off, it was definitely memorable. And like I said, we're going to be talking about the 2014 season from my perspective, my opinions, and there's a few races that just make me sad. Let's just say that. They just make me sad. Keselowski was pissing people off at Charlotte, specifically Matt Kenseth. He was just getting angry. But the round of 8 is where things get heartbreaking for me. Martinsville, Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins, but Gordon was the dominant car, and he was the fast one, and he was charging after Junior, but ran out of time, and Jeff Gordon finishes second at Martinsville. Then we go to Texas, and God. The 2014 Texas playoff race is probably the race that gives me PTSD the most as a NASCAR fan. Now, you have to understand me, guys. I'm no longer a fan of drivers. Once you get older in age, your fandom of NASCAR changes. If you're younger and you are rooting for a specific driver, I understand, and I knew and I appreciate how awesome that is. And that's how most people watch NASCAR. Most people watch NASCAR with a favorite driver in mind, and you root for that driver, you buy their merchandise and everything like that. So 2014, and then obviously 2015 is Gordon's final year. When I tell you that 2014 has genuinely changed me as a person, I mean it. I'm not exaggerating. 2014 hurt me so much that I had to tell myself to calm down and kind of disconnect. I had to disassociate myself from NASCAR and from being a fan, which is why in 2016, I didn't watch the season Okay, I started my YouTube channel in 2016, but I was not watching NASCAR. I did not watch the entire first half of the 2016 season. I swear on my life, I did not watch it. I only watched when Gordon came back into when Dale Earnhardt Jr. had the concussion issue. Gordon comes back and drives the 88. That's when I started watching again. I'm not even kidding. It changed me as a person. And now when I watch NASCAR, I obviously watch it as a neutral. I support Hendrick Motorsports, obviously, but I'm not actively sitting there with my bias glasses on and, rooting for specific drivers or rooting for specific teams. No. I'm just watching as a fan of the sport and hoping like the sport is healthy from here on out. So this was truly the last season that I was really, really, really invested and really, really wanted to see my childhood hero win a championship. And it all went away at Texas. Because Gordon passes Jimmy Johnson on one of the final restarts, and he is leading, and he looks like he's going to win the race. Now, I don't have the footage in front of me because I'm not going to watch it. I don't know what the caution was for. There was a caution that created the overtime restart. I'm not going to go back and watch it. You guys have to understand, there are a few sporting events I don't rewatch in my lifetime. 2014 Texas is one. The 2006 Champions League final, which has Arsenal involved, and Barcelona beat them. Never watched it back in my entire life. Will never want to watch clips from it. All I remember is there was a caution. Gordon was pulling away. He had like a 1 second lead, and the caution comes out. I swear to God it was with 2 to go. I swear on my life it was with 2 to go, which, again, brings back PTSD because there were so many races that Gordon lost after, the 2 to go thing. And as an objective Gordon fan, his weakness were restarts. Gordon's weakness in 2014 and later on in his career were restarts. And so I did not want to see another restart. And now I don't even need to have the footage in front of me. We know what happens. I'll show it to you guys, obviously. But Keselowski tries going 3 wide, and it, Gen 6 car, it's not the next gen car. Cuts the tire down, and Gordon goes from winning and locking himself into the championship race and being one of the favorites. It was a fast car every single week, to finishing, I don't even know where he finished, like 30th or some nonsense. This is when the fight happens and the chaos ensues, and NASCAR's used it for promotional reasons forever. But as a Jeff Gordon fan, this one hurts my heart more than anything. And it hurts even more knowing that for so many years, I was so angry at Brad Keselowski. But objectively, when you look back at it, Gordon left a little bit of a gap. And he kind of put himself in a bad situation. Now, you have to understand, though, the one thing about this incident is that NASCAR wasn't there yet in terms of the take, nobody gives, like, we're going to be super aggressive. 10 years ago, it wasn't like that yet, which is why I say the 2014 season is one of the most influential NASCAR seasons of all time, because this championship format, this chaos, the casino lottery that NASCAR wanted to give, the pure drama, pure entertainment, they were able to headline Sports Center because of how chaotic this was. By the way, this was the final season that NASCAR was on ESPN. So it was just the pure drama, pure entertainment. This is what we want to do. Heading into the new TV deal in 2015, it was so influential, it changed how drivers raced. And Brad Keselowski was one of the leaders of that. That's why everyone was angry with Brad Keselowski, because Brad Keselowski was trying to be one of the most aggressive race car drivers on the track. The way Keselowski drove in 2014 is normal in 2024. It's normal. It's accepted. We see it all the time now in modern day NASCAR that you be this aggressive and you race kind of like a dickhead, and it's accepted because everyone just wants to take. So back in 2014, it wasn't like that yet. So for the older heads like Harvick, like Gordon, like Stewart, like Jr., even Jimmy Johnson, they weren't there yet. Keselowski was still a young guy. He was still in his prime. And so it was different. And objectively, like I said, while Keselowski gets a lot of the hate for that, it's honestly a racing deal. It's a racing deal in 2024 standards, but in 2014, it wasn't looked at that yet. And Gordon should have just stayed as low as possible. That's what he should have done, but he didn't. He left the middle open, and that was that. Now, what gets even more heartbreaking, obviously, is that in the Phoenix race, it's Kevin Harvick's racetrack, so Harvick is going to go ahead and win that race. We know that, but Gordon finishes second at Martinsville. Gordon finishes second at Phoenix, and he looks like he's going to advance until Ryan Newman just sends Kyle Larson into the wall. And a man with 0 wins on the season, only 5 top 5s in the season, and an average finish of 13th, Ryan Newman advances into the final race instead of Jeff Gordon, and that is when I just felt sick to my stomach. NASCAR gets what it wants. Back-to-back-to-back weeks of drama. Big ones at Talladega, fight at Charlotte, chaos at Martinsville, fight at Texas, and now this kamikaze dive bomb move into Phoenix to send Ryan Newman to the championship race. This was entertainment. This was not sport, guys. The 2014 playoffs was not sport. It was entertainment. This was NASCAR in its full-blown drama and entertainment scenario. And yeah, Ryan Newman just wrecks Larson, a young Kyle Larson, by the way, and he advances into the championship race and almost won the championship, which I stand by to this day. If Kevin Harvick did not win the championship, it ended up being Ryan Newman, who finished second in that race. I stand by this day. I don't think I would have watched NASCAR ever again. I'm being honest. I think that would have completely ruined me because of how much of a joke it was. Now, luckily, Kevin Harvick does win the race at Homestead. He does win the championship, and he does become the deserving champion. There were 2 deserving champions that year. It was Kevin Harvick, and it was Jeff Gordon. So, as I've always said, I'm happy to see Kevin Harvick win that championship. Unfortunately, it was his only championship, which I feel like was not right because that 4 team was so dominant, so I feel like they should have won more. Now, I watched this race in person. I watched the 2014 Homestead race in person because Gordon was so fast that year that I bought my tickets early to go to Homestead. I was like, I'm going to watch Gordon win the championship. I went to Homestead knowing he wasn't there, but Gordon qualifies on pole. Gordon dominates the race, and like I've said, I've never watched the footage back of that race of the TV broadcast. All I remember is being in the grandstands, and there was a late race restart, and Gordon came down pit lane. I don't know why. I don't know why. I was confused. He was like one of the only cars to pit. Maybe he had an issue. I don't know. I was a kid in the grandstands. I don't really know what happened. I don't care what happened. I'm not going to go back and watch the broadcast. I don't want you guys to tell me why Jeff Gordon and Alan Gustin decided to come down pit lane. All I know is that he was dominating that entire race, and the entire time I was in the grandstands, I was depressed. I was depressed. I was like, this is so stupid. He should be winning the championship right now, but we're not going to have that. We're just going to have, him come down pit lane. And I don't even know where he finished. I don't care. It is depressing. But Kevin Harvick wins the race. Kevin Harvick wins the championship. And that was the 2014 season, which was just pure and utter chaos. And for me as a Jeff Gordon fan, pure and utter depression. The following year of NASCAR would be nowhere near as good. The following year with high downforce and low horsepower, a lot of the races, fans were not happy. It was just follow the leader. It was really depressing to say the least. And it wasn't very fun. Now, because NASCAR doesn't make sense with this format, Jeff Gordon makes the Final Four in that year when he didn't win a single race at all. But, and Kyle Busch wins the championship when he missed the first 3 months of the season due to a broken leg. So, yes, when I say NASCAR really went full drama and full entertainment back in 2014 and 2015, and even 2016, where Carl Edwards literally retired because he was so sick of it, and Jimmy Johnson wins his 7th championship when he really didn't deserve to win it, it was an interesting time period, to say the least. Which is why I leave it now to you guys. What did you think, guys, of the 2014 NASCAR season? Now, we didn't really talk about the middle of it. Like I said, there were a lot of memorable moments, a lot of memorable races, but, as a Gordon fan, I want to talk about my PTSD. That's kind of why I'm making this. And because NASCAR's Twitter account is posting a lot of, retro or nostalgic content, they have definitely a new direction over there because they're tweeting all the time about NASCAR races in the past, moments, stuff like that. I guess trying to make clips that go viral. And the goddamn admin keeps tweeting about 2014, and it's pissing me off. So yeah, that's also why I'm making this video. What did you think about the 2014 season? The one truly special season with one specific aero package that we're never going to see again because they were so ungodly fast. And yeah, Jeff Gordon's final really amazing season with Kevin Harvick winning his only championship and the inauguration of the chaotic format. And by the way, Michael Waltrip Racing basically went into bankruptcy and depression ever since the 2013 incident of, what was it called? The Richmond Gate, whatever, the cheating scandal, whatever they were doing over there. It was a very chaotic year. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe if you're already. Take care of yourselves. Peace out.